In the summer of 1979, a young woman's body was found near a drainage ditch off Interstate 35 in Williamson County, Texas. She had been shot in the chest, wrapped in a plastic sheet, and dumped on the side of the road. With no identification on her and no matching missing persons report, authorities were unable to determine who she was. The case quickly went cold, and the woman became known only as Orange Socks, named for the only article of clothing she was wearing. For decades, the identity of the victim remained a mystery, but a shocking twist came later that same year when Henry Lee Lucas, a drifter with a violent past, was arrested for unrelated murders. In 1983, while in custody, Lucas suddenly confessed to killing the woman known as Orange Socks. He claimed he picked her up in Oklahoma and murdered her in Texas during an argument. Despite inconsistencies in his confession, including the fact that records showed Lucas was working in Florida on the day of the murder, he was convicted in 1984 and sentenced to death. He later recanted his confession, and many began to suspect he had falsely admitted to the crime, as he had done with dozens of other unsolved murders. Lucas eventually confessed to over 600 killings, most of which were debunked. The case remained muddled for years. Then in 2019, more than 40 years after the woman was found, advancements in DNA and forensic genealogy led to a breakthrough. Investigators working with the DNA Doe Project used samples from the victim's remains to trace her relatives. In 2019, she was finally identified as Debra Louise Jackson, a 23-year-old from Abilene, Texas. With her identity confirmed, the focus shifted back to solving her actual murder. Investigators ruled out Henry Lee Lucas as the killer, officially acknowledging his confession was false. They began looking into her past connections and whether anyone she knew in Abilene or the surrounding area had motive or opportunity. Despite the new identification, no new suspects have been charged. Debra's murder remains officially unsolved, but her name was restored and her family was finally able to lay her to rest with a proper headstone. The case has become a landmark in forensic identification and a cautionary tale about relying on false confessions.